folks, this is Dwayne S. Pierce Show. It says podcast, but at the last minute, I wanted to go live, so I'll change that later. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. This is the 24th of August, 2013. Boy, do we have a lot of the week in review. Boy. Can the insanity never end? I'm serious. Can it just, stop for a moment? I don't think so. Not with this regime. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Nick Tucker of Distorted Reality Radio. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook, and also distortedreality.podbean.com. Yes, go check out his show as well. And lots going on. Just lots. Let's do a week in review, shall we? Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Check out what is there. A lot has been going on. A lot has been going on. That's all I can say. From theblaze.com, Defense Department education materials warn of quote-unquote extremists that speak of quote-unquote individual liberties. From AmericanLiveWire.com, fully armored SWAT team shoots at ex-Marines 71 times in marijuana raid. And of course here locally behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, near the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. Out at Black Rock Desert, state and federal police crack down on Burning Man, an unprecedented show of force. You can go to the IntelliHub.com and check that one out. Also from No Army Can Stop an Idea. Neo-Nazis plan to build all-white city in North Dakota. Also from Infowars.com, Chicago police implement pre-crime tactics. And from CityWatchLA.com, mysterious FEMA Region 3 alert has folks on edge. I don't know what you think about this. I don't know how you think about this. I don't even know if you do. All I know is that things are not fine, folks. Things are not fine. Things are not happening the way that they should as in regards to liberty and freedom in this country. I know that America's misguided children, formerly Uncle Sam's misguided children, have been a victim of censorship from Facebook. Facebook is not your friend. That's the new phrase of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, Facebook is not your friend. Go to awarenessact.com. Awarenessact.com. Check things out there. Sign up there. Be a part of free and unlimited freedom. You don't have to pay for anything. You can donate to help keep the site up, but that's up to you. I don't know what else to say, folks. This whole thing, this whole idea of freedom we've lived with for over 237 years has got to be drilled into this regime. A lot of little tiny battles intellectually have been won by us, and we have to continue to push to defend our freedoms, our liberties, and our life. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. I shall return right after this.
We will rock you. Sing it.
92.6 The Blitz for all your independent artists, filmmakers, and musicians. Playing the hits of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. 92.6 The Blitz. Go to RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com for more information.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Come listen to Journey into Light with your host, Michael Long. The show is about looking into the afterlife. Where do our souls go from here? What are the true messages from above? Everybody is family, so make a journey into light with Michael Long your home. With the best guests on the show, they share the love with all who call in and those who are in the chat room. That's Journey into Light with Michael Long, Sunday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on blogtalkradio.com/journey into the light. Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor looking to hone your abilities? Are you a writer looking for actors? Then Eastland Sci-Fi Radio Theater is for you. If you are a voice actor or a writer of sci-fi themed radio plays, send your information to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. For more information, go to eastlandradiofilms.wix.com/eastlandfilms for more information. If you are a voice actor, send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Films at USA.com. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show. It says podcast, but it's live. I'll change that later. This is the 24th of August, 2013. How you doing? I'm going to give a big shout out to the one and only Tom Slick over at 92.6 The Blitz. Yeah, check out his show. Check out all the information about independent artists, independent authors, independent musicians over at RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com. How you doing today? I also want to give a big shout out to the one and only Nick Tucker. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Go check that out. And also distortedreality.podbean.com. Lots of things going on. I'm going to give you a week in review. How's that? We can do that. From City Watch LA. That's Los Angeles, California, folks. Article written by Lisa Serta. Mysterious FEMA Region 3 alert has folks on edge. Following the breadcrumb trail of FEMA orders, retired State Senator Sheldon R. Songstad of South Dakota State issued an emergency FEMA Region 3 alert on August 13th. Region 3 is comprised of Washington, D.C., Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. Songsted's research turned up some very interesting facts. Each item on its own could go unnoticed, but the collective facts may be worthy of your attention and scrutiny. The U.S. government appears to be preparing for a major event. It appears that this event is being staged for approximately October 1st. Let's look at the numbers and dates. UN peacekeepers begin training the fourth week of July and will complete their 9-week training by October 1st. They are learning English, as well as U.S. weapon systems and urban warfare training. How many troops are training? 386,000 troops. The Center of Disease Control ordered $11 million worth of antibiotics. Where are they going? FEMA Region 3. When are they due? October 1st. This, coupled with the fact that the World Health Organization held an emergency meeting, its second such meeting in its history, to discuss MERS coronavirus. This is quite unsettling. The WHO determined that a vaccine must be in place by October 1st. Periodic testing of GPS and communication satellites is normal, but coordinating their testing for the first time with testing date of September 29th is noteworthy. All DHS agents must now qualify with sidearm, shotgun, and AR-15s by September 28th. Less lethal qualifications are not mentioned. Has one eyebrow raised? The DHS received 2,800 mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, MRAPs, that must be delivered by October 1st. All National Guard units will complete their annual 2-week training in riot control and disaster assistance. All units must have their training complete by September 30th. However, the Eastern-based Coast Guard units will not be performing their usual training in the Gulf this year, or I should say in the Gulf. This year, they will be trained in Virginia and Delaware for 10 days beginning September 26th. Coincidentally, the emergency broadcast system will begin daily testing beginning on September 25th through October 2nd. All of this kind of reminds me of the bomb-sniffing dogs being trained at the Boston Marathon for the first time ever. FEMA purchase orders deserve a little attention, too. They ordered over $14.2 million worth of MREs and heater meals and 22 million pouches of emergency water to be delivered to Region 3 by October 1st. An additional order of $13.6 million worth of MREs and heater meals will be delivered to Austin October 1st. Our U.S. military will not be permitted to leave for September 28th through November 5th. NORCOM's yearly training for civil unrest is suspended until September 27th. To be performed in northeast coastal areas. Date for release of QE3 report has been moved to October 16th. Over 300 school systems will be issued a 3-day emergency kit for each student in September. The retired senator's national preparedness research was sparked by a comment Donald Trump made during a recent appearance on Fox News' On the Record with Greta Van Susteren. Songstead included a video version of his findings with his notice. His video is going viral. How concerned should we be? Perhaps the question is, how prepared should we be? Perhaps the answer is, better prepared than the government. Bottom line is, folks, we have to be prepared, period. End of sentence. That means MREs, that means food, that means first aid kits, that means ammunition and guns and everything else that we can think of. Anything else that we believe we can use to sustain ourselves and to survive. All right? It never fails. And it always amazes me that at some point somebody will always tell me that I'm wrong, that I'm one of those tinfoil wearing conspiracy theorists, that I'm one of those conservatives, that I'm one of those liberals, that I'm one of the... No. Let me bottom line it for you, folks. I am nonpartisan and I don't give a crap one iota about the parties. They're both filled with progressives. They've got a handful of people that want the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, but they've been so chewed up by the system that they've got the markings of wars and battles on them intellectually that they'll just succumb to anything that's just going to move this process forward. In other words, kick the can down the road for somebody else. And it's the bottom line, folks, is that you, my listeners, right there listening to this, need to understand that your life is in danger, period, end of sentence. Now, whether or not you want to believe that, that's entirely up to you. But the bottom line is, when I look at you, when I look at people around here in the Reno, Nevada area, when I look at folks and listen to them and hear what they have to say and all of that, something comes to mind. And that one thing that comes to mind is they got to be out of their flipping minds if they don't see what's going on around them. And you know what? I'm right. I'm right. Because more and more, I'm seeing people who absolutely do not know where Iraq is, do not know where Iran is, do not know where England is, do not know what the capital is of the United States of America, and don't even know the capital of their own state most of the time. Okay? And I just get sick and tired of the fact that I can walk through the mall down here at Meadowwood Mall in Reno, Nevada, and notice 100 people who absolutely have no clue what is going on outside of that building. That might be a stretch to say 100 people, but I don't think so. I don't think so. It just goes to show you, if you look around and pay attention and understand what's going on, it just goes to show you that there are more people out there that absolutely don't know what's going on. And if you're the only one, you've got to share that information with people. You've got to look at people and say, hey, do you know what's going on? And half the time, more than half the time, people are going to look at you and say no. Or the other part of that is people will look at you and go, yeah, but I really don't care. And then a very few people that you talk to will probably say, yeah, what can we do about it? Well, you have the answers, apparently. So you need to go tell these people what needs to be done. And the bottom line is that we have to prepare ourselves. There's no question about it. We have to prepare ourselves. I'm at the bottom line of my patience when it comes to stupid people. Okay? I am just, I laugh, I chuckle, I look at all these people and I ask, where the hell is their head? And then I look down behind them and I'm like, oh, now I know. I just don't, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I do not, and probably will not get it at all. I just don't. I don't. Going on Free America Radio on Facebook, Chicago police implement pre-crime technology. This is from Infowars.com. Kurt Nimmo wrote this, posted it yesterday on the 23rd of August. Employing mathematical analysis, Chicago police are generating heat lists, it's in quotes, containing what they believe are potential criminals, acting on a speculative data. The cops are conducting home visits, intimidating residents, and threatening people with arrest. The effort, known as 2 Degrees of Association, is funded by a federal grant from the National Institute of Justice. Quote, the strategy, if I can speak, the strategy calls for warning those on the heat list individually that further criminal activity, even for the most petty offenses, will result in the full force of the law being brought down on them, unquote, reports the Chicago Tribune. The tactic is reminiscent of a short story by late Philip K. Dick, later made into a feature film by Steven Spielberg. In the story, precogs, it's in quotes, individuals with precognitive ability are used by police to predict future crimes. That movie is Tom Cruise, Minority Report. The theory of pre-crime parallels that of preemptive arrest, a forward-looking mechanism in which a person is arrested prior to committing a crime. Preemptive arrest and detention are characteristics of authoritarian and totalitarian governments and are usually considered anathema to the principles of Republican Democrat forms of government. The fact Chicago is using pre-crime theory to combat endemic and primarily drug and gang-related violence is further evidence authoritarian police behavior is taking America further down the road toward a police state. The bottom line is, folks, is you have to understand one valuable piece of information. We no longer live in the United States of America. We no longer live in the United States of America. I would say that most people will stand up and defend their freedoms and their liberties and their homes and their families just because it's within them to do so and they know that it's right. But when it comes to the totalitarian authoritarianism of this government and this regime, how many people are willing to do the same thing? How many people are willing to stand up for what is right, for what is true, for what freedom stands for what liberty truly is? That's the big question. That's the bigger question. Are you willing to stand up to do this? From No Army Can Stop an Idea. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Click on the link that says, Neo-Nazis plan to build all-white city in North Dakota. Oh, yeah, isn't that wonderful? A 61-year-old neo-Nazi is trying to turn his small town in North Dakota into a stronghold for white supremacists. Paul Craig Cobb, a neo-Nazi who lives in Leith, North Dakota, is quickly buying properties in the small town, which has a population of 19 people. Abandoned houses are scattered throughout the desolate town, and there is only one storefront business for miles. Quote, I didn't have a clue who the guy was until he showed up. All I know is he bought that house sight unseen, $5,000 cash, and had no idea what it looked like, where it was, other than he knew the directions to get to Leith, unquote. Mayor Ryan Schock told the Hate Watch blog, which is a media project by a civil rights group called the Southern Poverty Law Center. They're not a civil rights group, folks. They're a hate group. Cobb hopes to turn Leith into a haven for white supremacists. Last year, he posted an online forum called Vanguard News Network, claiming that he will build an all-white bastion of racists as fast as possible. Ultimately, he wants white supremacists and neo-Nazis to take over the country and control the government. He also hopes to rename the town Cobbsville. Tenants of Cobb's properties more than one, will be required to fly a racist banner such as a Nazi flag on a daily basis. They would also be required to become legal residents of the state for voting purposes, as well as join his recruiting effort to attract quote-unquote radical hardcore white nationalists. North Dakota is already 90% white, and Grant County, where Cobb currently lives, is 90% white, according to the U.S. Census. But for Cobb, the racial diversity in his state is still too high for him to be satisfied. Racist organizations across the country have already supported the 61-year-old's vision. Tom Metzger, founder of the White Aryan Resistance, purchased one of Cobb's abandoned lots for $1, a move that is largely symbolic. Alex Linder, operator of VVN, also purchased a lot. Cobb told the Hate Watch blog that he also donated several buildings to the National Socialist Movement, which the New York Times in 2011 described as, quote, the largest supremacist group with about 400 members in 32 states. Well, folks, we need to shut him down, don't we? Well, why do you say that? He's got freedom of speech. He can do whatever he wants. There's a fine line to be drawn between freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and buying up a small town to create a full racist community in hopes to fully engulf the rest of the United States. Do you know what these groups do? They not only go after black people, but they go after Asian and Mexicans. Oh, and they don't stop there. They go after Jews and other people of different religions. So we have to stop this right now. If anybody is near that area, you should file a massive lawsuit against this guy because he is facilitating hate, period. You don't like his speech and you want it banned. No, I don't. I want him arrested for facilitating hate. You can't do that. It's a freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Well then, okay, how come when I say that I hate broccoli, the Broccoli Association doesn't jump up and have me arrested? Okay, great example. I don't hate anybody, folks. Matter of fact, I love broccoli. I think it's really cool. But the fact of the matter is that this guy is facilitating hate. No question about it. Facilitating and moving into a position to where he is going to express himself to everyone else that is different than him in a very hateful, prejudicial, racial, or racist way. Period. Now, a lot of people may not like that. A lot of people may say, well, he's got a right to do whatever he wants. Within reason, if it doesn't hurt anyone else. And apparently this guy wants to hurt everyone else. And anybody who's white that doesn't agree with him, he's probably going to have a problem with. So I would inundate that little Leith, North Dakota, Leith, and just slam him. Put word out on YouTube and every place else to get him to move the hell out of the United States of America, because we don't want hate. We've got enough to deal with. We don't need this jackass pushing his beliefs. Pardon my French. Get your morning started with the Morning Brew on 92.6 The Blitz. Music from the 60s, 70s, and more. The Blitz 92.6. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. See that car in your rearview mirror? The driver wants to kill you. Don't take it personally. You just happen to be in the way. Now, with a gun in one hand and a steering wheel in the other, this distant runner-up in the human race feels empowered for the very first time. At least our boys finally found a purpose in life. Red Asphalt by Scott Cherney. Available at Amazon.com. Peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. That is from 1984 by George Orwell. Do you really want to know what's going on? Come listen to The Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Liberty and Freedom Network.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What's on your mind? Chances are it's on their mind too. Check out Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on Spreaker.com. Folks, this is the Wayne S. Pierce Show right here. Yeah. Welcome back. Hey, I got some questions for you techies out there. Email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. I can be doing something on my system here, on my computer, and the whole 9 yards, typing away, and then I don't see the words, and then all of a sudden, a second later, boom, the words will pop up. This happens with everything. I went to turn down the music just a second ago, and it stopped for about a half a second and then moved, so, and this does this with anything. It's not just one thing, so obviously there's a glitch in the programming, and it's Windows 7. It's a real pain in the butt, and the only other option that I can see after doing a lot of research and trying to figure out what the problem is to completely erase and reinstall my system, the operating system. So what could be the problem that I'm not seeing? So Anyway, email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. I'd really like to know. See, I just went to do something there, and it glitched for about a half a second. Or a second. So anyway, go to Free America Radio on Facebook. From AmericanLiveWire.com, fully armed SWAT team shoots at ex-Marine 71 times in marijuana raid. No marijuana found. This was written by Jeffrey Crooks. Several teams in Pima County police officers in SWAT gear entered into the house of a 26-year-old ex-Marine. The ex-Marine, Jose Guerrina, was shot at 71 times in front of his wife. He was struck by 22 of the bullets fired at him. Watch the video as the reporter Barry Cooper covers the story perfectly. The incident, which occurred May 5th, is now being introduced to the media. There's a video there as well. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said its SWAT team was at the home because Guerrina was suspected, if I can say those words, of being involved in a drug trafficking organization, and that the shooting happened because he arrived at home with his AR-15. The county prosecutor's office says the shooting was justified. No, it wasn't, folks, at all. Period. Okay, was not justified. If they would have done their job and not fired on him and just said, hey, put down the gun, we're here to do this and this and this, things would have wound up just fine. But no, the criminal elements of law enforcement, in the militarized law enforcement, I should say, are trigger happy. And they will stop at nothing to kill you for whatever reason they desire. You don't believe me? Check out all the news reports of people, just innocent people, just walking, just doing their business every day, just walking, doing whatever at their home and having their homes raided by police that sometimes it was the wrong home. And they shot somebody dead because it was, our mistake. We thought this was the house we needed to raid. Oops, sorry. No. It's time, people, to sue them into oblivion. File all kinds of complaints with the county and with the city and start suing these people and saying, look, you are here to protect and serve. That means we are your boss. You will do what we tell you to do. And we don't want you coming into the house, into anywhere we are to tell us what to do. If anything, we are to tell you what to do. Now, a lot of people might look at me and say, well, isn't that kind of, that's wrong, isn't it? No, it's not. We need to sue them in court. We need to put their asses on the line. We need to hold them accountable. And we need to hold them responsible for everything they do. That is how we get back at these people. Throw their asses in court, make it go on for weeks or months or years, and stop them from doing what they do. Now, is that going to stop them? Under this regime, no. You could throw them in court all day long, every single hour, and they're going to come and retaliate against all of that. This is a trigger-happy, militarized law enforcement that does not care one iota about your civil rights, period. Because look at what's happened. You can hear it in the news. You can see it in the news. It's all right there. Now, I know that there are some good law enforcement officers that follow the Constitution and the law. Guess what? They're the ones who are either resigning or coming forward or going into court and suing their own people. You can go back in the 70s, and this goes back clear to 71, 72, around in that area, or 73, when Frank Serpico was in the New York City Police Department, and he was undercover, and he saw the corruption and the stealing and the drug use and the drug trafficking and all of this in the New York City Police Department, and he blew the whistle, and they kicked his butt out. He resigned, I think, I don't know, but they found him and they intimidated him and they said, "You're not going to do this." He goes, "Try me." And he pushed them and pushed them and pushed them until most, if not half, of the police force in New York City was put in jail and forced to retire. And this is what we have to do today. Yes, I know police officers in Stockton, California, where I grew up. And there's some fine people, family men, women as well. And they're really good and they stand on the Constitution, but there are some that just don't really care. They're like, "I don't care if I can get $300 or $400 a day from a drug dealer, I'll do it." That's on record, folks. Former police officers, the ones that have been arrested and put in prison, they say that. Yeah, we just took from them. I mean, why not? Look at it this way, folks. When you're out and about and you're out walking around or driving around, you would expect that the law enforcement would protect you in any way, shape, or form. Do you not? And if you know that you ran that stop sign or ran that stoplight or whatever, you know that within yourself you would do what was right. Right? You would know that the drunk driver that hit you would get arrested and thrown in jail. Right? Well, apparently in the last 10 to 15 years, the new recruits that have gone into the police department don't really care about the Constitution or your civil rights. But I could be wrong. It could be much older than that. I get really upset, folks, as you can tell, when police trample on, when the law enforcement in your area, from state police to sheriff to city to you name it, they're there, trample upon your civil rights. They trample upon your civil rights for one very simple reason. They don't know anything else. They see it on TV. They see it in the video games. They see it all over the place. And they look at this opportunity as getting back at people and saying, "This is what you do." Okay? I'm going to go to break. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. That is from 1984 by George Orwell. Do you really want to know what's going on? Come listen to The Views Express, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on the Liberty and Freedom Network.
Samo Radio, playing music for free so you can listen longer. Samo.
It's the 5 o'clock drive with Samo.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What's on your mind? Chances are it's on their mind too. Check out Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Only on Spreaker.com. Hey folks, how you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Phone rang, had to go to break. I'm back now. Hey, I'm glitching now every 5 seconds. Things will stop and it'll just, so if my voice glitches at all, like stops for a second or whatever, let me know. freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. It's just glitching like crazy now, so I may have to just uninstall and reinstall Windows again. I don't know what the problem is. So if anybody knows what that is, just like for a second it'll stop and then go again, and then about 5 or 6 seconds later it'll do it again, and like it just did there. It'll just stop. And I'm watching the meters on my DJ console here on Spreaker, and it just, there it goes, another little thing here. Anyway, I'm going to say, get into this one last article that is close by. It's here in Black Rock Desert over here near Gerlach, Nevada, and it's called Burning Man, and they have that every year. But this year, it says here at IntelliHub, state and federal police crack down on Burning Man in unprecedented show of force. One of the most peaceful and long-running festivals in the country is under attack by police, with early arrivals experiencing a show of force like they have never seen before. Yeah, you might want to read that article, because it goes into what other people are saying about this whole thing. Burning Man is a really, really cool thing. It's just people just doing whatever they want, but they have, within their own system out there, within their own organization, the Burning Man organization, they have their own way of policing everything. They have their own way of doing the things that they have to do to help people be safe and protect people and all that. They have that. And from what I understand, if you do wrong, they just kick you off. They just kick you out. They go away. Just, we don't want you. And they do, I've heard that they do call the police and invite them in and have them come in if something big happens that they can't control. So, but this time, it's more like all the police are out there, not all of them, but most of them, are just showing a big, huge, heavy hand out there. Is there people smoking marijuana out there? Of course there is. Because it's people doing what they want to do. Free, liberated people in a free society. Well, not anymore, but they're out there doing what they do. Some people would say, well, people can't do that. People just can't do what they want, smoke dope and whatever. Yeah, they can. Hello, you're free. Sorry. You naysayers out there need to get your head out of your wazoo and understand one valuable, important thing, and that is we the people are free. So are you to disagree with me. So I'll stand beside you to have that right to say what you say, even though you disagree with me and disagree with them. But you're going to be absolutely and positively wrong at the end of the day, so you better just shut your damn pie hole, because you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? Well, you just can't tell people to shut up because they have a freedom of speech and they can say whatever they want. Yes, and I will stand next to you. Did you not hear that? Stand next to you because you have that freedom to say what you say, even though I disagree with it. So, don't say anything because you know you're going to be wrong. You know in your heart of hearts know that you're going to be wrong, but you're going to say it anyway. I'll stand beside you because you have that right of freedom of speech. You're wrong to say what you say, but you have that right to say it. Okay? Well, that sounds contradictory. No, it's not. Hell, there are more people that I disagree with than I agree with. In the regards of, legalizing marijuana and all that, there's a lot of people I disagree with. But you know what? They have a right to do what they do. So what do? I stand back and just let them do it. I don't say a word about it. Why? Because they have a right to do what they do. I may not like it. I may disagree with it. But that's me. That's me. That's you. That's your next door neighbor. We may not agree all the time, but we have a right to say what we say and do what we do. I mean, I may not agree with the fact that my neighbors, do what they do or whatever, but they can do it. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to condone it. I don't have to accept it. But they have a right to do what they do and say what they say. They can call me every name in the book and make up a few. They're wrong, but they have a right to say it. Anyway, onward and upward to bigger and better things. Go to the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page, if you would, please. Couple things there before we get out of here in about 8 minutes. From 4wins10, the number 10.net. Dick Act of 1902 can't be repealed. Gun control forbidden. The Trump card enacted by the Congress further asserting the Second Amendment as untouchable. Posted the 24th of July, 2012. The Dick Act of 1902, also known as the Efficiency of Militia Bill H.R. 11654 of June 28, 1902, invalidates all so-called gun control laws. It also divides the militia into three distinct separate entities. The three classes H.R. 11654 provides for are the organized militia, henceforth known as the National Guard of the State, Territory, and District of Columbia, the unorganized militia, and the regular army. The militia encompasses every able-bodied male between the ages of 18 and 45. All members of the unorganized militia have the absolute personal right and Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms of any type, and as many as they can afford to buy. The Dick Act of 1902 cannot be repealed. To do so would violate bills of attainder, and ex post facto laws, which would be yet another gross violation of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The President of the United States has zero authority without violating the Constitution to call the National Guard to serve outside of their state borders. The National Guard militia can only be required by the national government for limited purposes specified in the Constitution, to uphold the laws of the Union, to suppress insurrection and repel invasion. These are the only purposes for which the general government can call upon the National Guard. Attorney General Wickersham advised President Taft, quote, "The organized militia, the National Guard, cannot be employed for offensive warfare outside the limits of the United States." The Honorable William Gordon, in a speech to the House on Thursday, October 4th, 1917, proved that the action of President Wilson in ordering the organized militia, the National Guard, to fight a war in Europe was so blatantly unconstitutional that he felt Wilson ought to have been impeached. Sound familiar? During the war with England, an attempt was made by Congress to pass a bill authorizing the president to draft 100,000 men between the ages of 18 and 45 to invade enemy territory, Canada. The bill was defeated in the House by Daniel Webster on the precise point that Congress had no such power over the militia as to authorize it to empower the president to draft them into the regular army and send them out of the country. The fact is that the president has no constitutional right under any circumstances to draft men from the militia to fight outside the borders of the USA, and not even beyond the borders of their respective states. Today we have a constitutional law which stands in waiting for the legislators to obey the Constitution which they swore to uphold, sworn oath to uphold. Charles Hughes of the American Bar Association made a speech which is contained in the appendix to the Congressional Record, House, September 10th, 1917, pages 6,836 to 6,840, which states, and quote, "The militia, within the meaning of these provisions of the Constitution, is distinct from the Army of the United States," unquote. In these pages, we also find a statement made by Daniel Webster, quote, "The great principle of the Constitution on that subject is that the militia is the militia of the state, of the states, and of the general government, and thus being the militia of the states, there is no part of the Constitution worded with greater care and with more scrupulous jealousy than that which grants and limits the power of Congress over it," unquote. Quote, the limitation upon the power to raise and support armies clearly establishes the intent and purpose of the framers of the Constitution to limit the power to raise and maintain a standing army to voluntary enlistment, because if the unlimited power to draft and conscript was intended to be conferred, it would have been a useless and puerile thing to limit the use of money for that purpose. Conscripted armies can be paid, but they are not required to be, and if it had been intended to confer the extraordinary power to draft the bodies of citizens and send them out of the country in direct conflict with the limitations upon the use of the militia imposed by the same section and article, certainly some restriction or limitation would have been imposed to restrain the unlimited use of such power, unquote. The Honorable William Gordon, Congressional Record, House, page 640, 1917. Bottom line, folks, we the people are the militia of the states that you live in, and we must hold this United States capital, Washington, D.C., accountable and responsible for the actions that they have taken by sending our men and women over into other countries, and by pulling together the National Guard and saying, we are calling you up to full service. They cannot do it. It is unconstitutional. And if you think I'm wrong, do your homework. I just read you that piece of information, and if you cannot understand it, you need to go back to school and read the Constitution of the United States of America. I am a patriot, and I will forever be a patriot. And if this country ever comes under some sort of rule that is not from the members of Washington, D.C., then we the people have a responsibility to each other and an obligation to defend the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America. See it for what it is, people. Use it for what you know it should be used for. Stand on it and defend it, because you and your family and your freedom and liberty and the peace and security of the United States is in your hands. And if you do not do that, or if you do not care one bit, then the blood of the innocent, of the future of this United States of America will be on your hands. You are the bastion of freedom in this world. You, the members and citizens of the United States of America, whose fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers fought for this country. And I stand to honor the greatest and the best and the strongest who have kept this country out of the hands of the tyrants. It is now time we do what we do. Rise, stand, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against enemies foreign and domestic. Do not act aggressively, but be responsible and defend yourself. We'll go from there, folks. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show. It says podcast. I'll change that later. Email me. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can also go to the website freeamericaradio.weebly.com. You can also go to the Facebook page, Free America Radio, on Facebook. Talk to you later.